everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to TSW5 and to Germany. We are at Hanau today. We're going to take a run from Hanau up to Frankfurt. It's just a short service, but I wanted to have a look at some of the patch notes that we had for Frankfurt Fulda as well, because it's important, especially with this 114, because I found it a little bit unusable before. It had a problem with the brakes, and the brakes were terrible. And what is a nice train normally just was not performing. So we're going to run this service and we'll get started very shortly. And as I said, we'll have a run through the mega patch notes for Frankfurt Fulda. There were some for Frankfurt Fulda, there was some particularly for the locals, the Ice-T, the 114 that we're driving here. There's also fixes for the Vectron and for the Flixtrain Vectron. So we'll go through the main Frankfurt Fulda ones and the one fix for the 114. Let's get into it, shall we? If you're new to German trains, by the way, you might want to try this one because it's pretty easy to drive, and I'll tell you why once we get underway. So, first of all, let's get the master key, or reverse I should say, into forward. We don't have a master key on this one. Let's do the lights. We've got 3 lights here, so let me click the mouse so that I can get these ready to go with the controller again. There we are. That one should be white. That is white as well. That's white. So at the front we should have 3 white lights now, and we do. We will have the train lights on, shall we, for the passengers? It is 9 o'clock in the morning, but we probably should always have those on. Instrument lights can also go on. There is a desk light there as well, just there, which, as you can see, at night actually provides some very nice illumination, but we don't need that one on for now. We need to, of course, turn on the brake key, and the brakes will start to fill up. We'll get the doors open, and of course we want the safety systems on, which on the 114 are down this corridor, as they are with several of these German locos. So we've got CIFA and PZB on this run, so there is CIFA. Let's put that on, and right next to it is PZB. Let's jump back in. Shall we have a window open? Why not? So yes, we are at Hanau. Let's have a quick look. We are going, this is the Würzburg to Frankfurt train, by the way, the RE55 4606. We're going to Offenbach first and then through to Frankfurt. So we'll take a look outside, because we can close the doors now. We've got the DOS door on the back, of course. Let's get that closed. There we go. Right, so I said this is easy to drive because if you're used to using the AFB to control your speed, this one has got, I don't know what the actual name for it is, but basically if you first take off the brakes, and we need to wait for the brakes to release or we'll get a traction look, but once the brakes release we can just accelerate in. We put the, oh, it's a speed selector. Speed selector, of course, is the name for it. So we switch it to on, and as you can see, you can go in multiples of 10 kilometers per hour. So if you're used to the AFB, you'll set the AFB to whatever speed you want to go to, and then you'll increase the throttle. We don't need to do that with this. We can just use the throttle to go up in multiples of 10. So it's quite straightforward to drive it. We'll get underway and we'll start and look at the patch notes, shall we, from yesterday. Hopefully you all saw the West Coast Main Line video that I did looking at the detail again in the patch. That one has been pretty well received. Thank you for that if you did watch that. I'll put a link to it in the top right hand corner just in case you didn't. But we can accelerate up to 40, so we'll do that. whilst observing all the CFA and PZB. That is the CFA that just went off right there. So we're in the monitoring. We can't go above 40, 45 right now, but I'm going to keep it at 40 because I'm using the speed selector. 12 kilometres to Offenbach. Thanks for all the feedback on the West Coast Mainline South, by the way, as a result of that video. There's been quite a bit of feedback today. All useful stuff. And we're out of the monitoring, so let's just do this and get up to 60. There we go. Let's have a look at the patch notes, shall we, from yesterday. So, general for Frankfurt Fulda, various improvements to ensure signals at Frankfurt and other stations across the route have the correct display as per reality. Added fences at the S-Bahn sidings in Offenbach Ost and adjusted landscape to sound barrier and tracks. Added terrain around the sound barriers at the Offenbach Ost station. Added a missing GPA 2000 Hz at Frankfurt Süd entry. Added missing LF7 signs at Fleiden towards Frankfurt. Fixed an issue with track switches not setting the correct path near Frankfurt after setting the key in the yard boxes. There's an IC1 going past. It's one of my favourite trains in the German routes. Let's speed up, by the way. We could do 110 in this section. Fixed an issue where the NBO signs were not placed correctly at Schluckturner Tunnel for northbound trains. Fixed the overhead line head spanner on the track at Frankfurt. Fixed the overhead line clipping of the train on the siding at Fulda. Fixed an issue where signal S9 at Fulda station is clipping the station roof and not visible from the track. Adjusted the GPA magnet at Offenbach Ost so you can drive over the magnet with a speed that is slightly above 60. And ensured Zustandslicht on advanced signals, HV signals only, is turned on at Frankfurt Süd. I'll tell you what, from that list of patch notes, there's quite a lot around Offenbach, isn't there? Which is our next station stop on this route. So there must have been a lot of problems around Offenbach. I must admit, I've been enjoying this route, but I haven't played it as much as the West Coast Mainline South, so I haven't noticed as many problems. The problem that we had with this 114, as I mentioned at the beginning, was with the brakes. And it says in the patch notes, fixed the BR114 brakes not working correctly due to pressure not building as expected. They were awful. I didn't know it was a bug at first, and I thought, this can't be right. Surely. It just couldn't get going. It was really bizarre. So I'm glad that's fixed because it's working right now, as it should. Let's take a look outside, shall we? We can't look outside too much because of the PZB issue. But we'll try a little bit. 7.7 miles to Offenbach. We had some updates for the BR411 Ice-T as well, which was fix the gap in the gateway between the carriages when the loco is moving on a curve. Must have been quite a wide gap, I assume. Fixed an issue where digital screens would not tilt with the loco. That would have been amusing. And ensured they correctly display the expected information. Then we got various other fixes for... We got some for the Vectron to do with Rail Driver. That's the silver Vectron, I believe. Possibly the red one. Doesn't say. It just says Vectron. But then there's a whole host of fixes for the Flixtrain Vectron specifically. So go and check those out. We're not driving the Flixtrain today. So the Frankfurt Fulda list is not as big as the West Coast Main Line list was. Whether that means there's more to fix on the West Coast Main Line, I'm not sure. 4.4 to Offenbach. As I said, this is quite a short service, but I thought we'd jump in, have a look again at the 114. Did I play the 114 on channel? I can't remember. There's the red Vectron over there in the sidings with the tankers. The freight is pretty good on this route. In fact, the freight on all the German routes is pretty good. Right, shall we start slowing down? Because we got 2.4 kilometres to our next stop. We're likely to get a magnet on the way in as well, which means we'll have to have the speed down. We'll take the speed selector off and we'll start using the brakes. Because that is the proper way to do it. See that? There's still those flashing, there's a flash in the cab. See it going dark in the cab. Hopefully that's on the fix list. That's as if we're going under some imaginary sort of tunnel, which is a bit weird. Oh, there's an Airbus right above us. Okay, no magnet. We don't have a red light coming up. We got green at the end of the platform. But we are coming to a stop quite nicely. The brakes are definitely working as they should. I'm pleased to report. Right, we're in notch 5. In fact, the brakes are a complete change to what they were. I played it once, played the double 1-4 or 1-1-4 about once, I think, and quickly realised it was pretty bad and put it to the back of the queue. But I'm glad to see it's back to how it should be, which is quite nice. Plenty of people getting off. This graffiti's quite a good effect, isn't it? And probably quite realistic. There's another Airbus there, look. Right, let's get the doors closed because to wait till 9:12. It's just turned 9:12. And we're off to Frankfurt, which is just 5 kilometres away. So yeah, I've got to wait for the brakes to come off. You see we've got the traction lock message coming up. So once this dial, this one here, top right hand corner, drops down to 0, we're then able to move away and accelerate. Wow, it is busy, isn't it, for air traffic? Look at that. We should probably have a bit of horn, shouldn't we, whilst we're on this? Let's do it from inside the cab first, shall we? Just put that back to train brake. I don't know if it has a high and a low. It does. The low one sounds a bit weird. Let's put some acceleration in. We'll go outside and have a listen, shall we, as well? There we go. That's the horn on the 114. It's not that impressive, is it, really? Right, let's get off to Frankfurt. Just click the CIFAR, make sure we are staying safe. Let's get the speed up as well. So the other thing is, you may have noticed, you can't immediately whack the speed selector up to a high level. You've got to kind of build it up. So keep an eye on this dial here, which, as you can see, keeps notching up as we go. And I think you've got to keep those two dials together, if I remember correctly. So you see the white dot on the top, the little hash mark, and the needle. I think you've got to keep those in sync. But I'm not an expert. They're not in sync now, are they? Maybe that's a signal that I can accelerate again. So when they're together, you can accelerate. There's the Flix train. Once they start to move apart, that's the time to accelerate again. That's how I'm reading it. I don't know that for certain. That's how I'm reading it. You see the city of Frankfurt in the distance. It's quite impressive, isn't it, with the tall buildings? So let's see. Once we get down to 0 on this dial, I'll put another notch in, and it rises up together. So maybe you do need to keep those together, and that's the proper way to accelerate. Need to look into that because I don't know. As I said, this is only the second time I've driven it. Although some of the systems are the same on several of the locos in Germany. Right, we have got a 140. Speed selector is at 100. I think we'll keep it at 100 anyway, because we do have 100 coming up. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on with this. There's the warning for the 100, but that's fine. It's not the most exciting loco that we've got, I don't think, on this route. But nevertheless, it is quite a pleasure to drive because it's easy. And that's got a certain appeal when you want to just enjoy the scenery. I'm going to slow down for Frankfurt Süd. Now we'll test how good the brakes have been fixed. There's another IC1 going past. I always see one of those and I want to jump in and I want to just drive it. I love the speed out of those. Right, this is Frankfurt Süd. Let's open the doors and we'll take a look outside. We've got Frankfurt Main on the schedule. Left to go. Here we got the 423. That's always a nice unit as well to drive. There's so much now on the German routes we can drive. There's so much variety. We'll lock the doors as that guy just jumps into the back just in time. Right, brakes off. Let's wait for the brakes to release. Speed selector on, and away we go. Not far, 1.8 kilometres. Quite a short little hop. But the patch came out yesterday, as we mentioned. I hope you all got it installed okay, there's no issues. What I also hope is that whichever of the routes that were patched that you enjoyed playing the most, I hope it's fixed a lot of the problems for you that you had. I was generally quite impressed yesterday with the West Coast Mainline South. I was playing it on PC. I only had a very brief go on the PS5 on the patched version, so I've not really had a time yet to look at that in any great detail, but certainly on the PC it was a lot better, as you saw in the video. This route, for me, there has been a set of fixes, but it's not an extensive list of fixes. A lot of them are missing signals. It looks like clipping of overhead lines and missing magnets, etc., etc. So not real scenic fixes. A few fixes to some of the locos, but nothing to me that stands out apart from this braking fix. So you guys that like running this route a lot and this is your main route will probably get a little bit more out of the patch for this one, but as long as it keeps getting patched and they're working through the list, that's got to be a good thing, right? Let's have all the patches released over the next few weeks and months, get it all up to where it should be, and I think we'll be a happy bunch, won't we? Right, we have an 80 coming up, so we might as well go to the 80 and hold it there for this big curve down into the very impressive entry to the main station at Frankfurt. I always love this part. Keeping an eye on the signals. We do have a 70 board there that I need to acknowledge once we get to it. There we go. Let's put it down to 70 now, shall we? Couple of minutes till we're due in at Frankfurt, so we should be alright. Bit of stutter as we get towards Frankfurt. This is where everything starts to build up. Again, as I said on the West Coast Mainline video last night, probably takes, because it's been patched, it probably needs to reload a lot of the stuff again, so it could be that you need to do a couple of runs to stop the stutters. Acknowledge that. Start bringing the speed down. There's so much activity around Frankfurt. Look at all the trains coming in and out. There's a lot of static trains. You know, there's a lot that is being loaded up just in this section. But, as always, tell me what you think. I don't know if this patch set for Frankfurt Fulda has made a massive difference to you. Let me know. I don't think it's groundbreaking, but it's a start. Right, we've got 500 meters. Let's bring the speed down to 30. Just hold it there. And this is the very impressive main station at Frankfurt. So give it a go and let me know what you think. I think probably a lot of you have already jumped in this. I haven't had much time since the patch came out, so this is my first look again at Frankfurt Fulda. It's been alright. As I said, there's nothing groundbreaking here for me, apart from the 114 is now drivable. I'll give it a proper test as we go, but yeah, so far so good. So we're going to bring it to a stop. Hopefully we can. We're coming in quite hot, you know. That's going to be close. Oh wow, that was close. I'm going to check that in a second. Let's get the doors open. Do you know what? It probably was close. However, I bet the real drivers stop like that. It's just that I'm used to stopping a little bit further back than that. So it's probably not an issue. But I hope you've enjoyed this little look at Frankfurt Fulda again, and especially a 114. Do give it a go. See what you think. Let me know. Appreciate it if you give me a little like, and take care everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.